every proposal that you ever put in should be tailored, not just to industry and agency, but to solicitation. But especially if you're IT, cyber, logistics, facilities, engineering, right? All of those evaluate risk differently. So a proposal that works with GSA IT won't necessarily score well on like Seaport or Oasis Plus unless you adjust it.
If you're pursuing 1 million plus federal opportunities in 2026, you probably notice that the environment feels a little bit different, not because everything's changed overnight, but because a lot of changes are landing at the same time, right? We talk every week with companies that are trying to understand Oasis Plus, Phase 2, how it fits into their growth plan, how GSA and other contract vehicles are being used more aggressively, how to compete on task orders through Seaport, NXG, Alliant, or Polaris, or how to stay compliant with all these things that evolve, right? So today we're answering the top questions we hear from companies that are serious about winning federal work, right? Not just bidding on it. So we're here with Sarah. Sarah's helped lead the team to over $45 billion in wins at SAS-GPS. Let's get into it. All right, so first question, Sarah. How should companies think about contract vehicles in 2026?
They should think about it a lot and hard. No, the biggest shift in understanding is that vehicles are no longer optional for you. Okay. If you want to win government contracts in 2026, I recommend getting on some vehicles. They're going to be the primary way that agencies buy, right? Changes started happening in 2025 and they are now starting to take concrete shape, rolling out. Right now, we are seeing a lot more work that is being pushed through GSA managed vehicles, especially Oasis Plus. I'm also seeing a lot more moved over to Seaport because these agencies, they want flexibility, speed, right, pre-vetted contractors. And Oasis Plus has become the backbone vehicle for those integrated professional services. Even in the case where I don't think that it is an integrated professional service, the contracting officers are telling us, hey, these are going to be rebid on Oasis Plus. This is what we are being told to do. Even if the contracting officer doesn't think it makes sense, it's getting moved over to Oasis Plus. So, let's get on Oasis Plus so we keep those opportunities, right? At the same time, contracts like Alliant and Polaris continue to drive enterprise IT buying, and Seaport NXG remains the Navy's preferred services channel. So strong companies, they're not just betting on this one vehicle. They put yourself where agencies are most likely to put the work that you do. Unfortunately, you can't get on Seaport right now, right? You can't get on Oasis Plus right now, and you can't get on GSA. So let's do the ones that you can do right now.
Yeah, no, 100%. All right, great. So I guess the follow-up question to that was how do you decide then which vehicle you should belong to?
Yeah. So people ask me, well, how do we decide which vehicle that an opportunity might belong on, right? And we just don't decide that. And sometimes you can't know. The government is who decides that. What companies can control is whether or not you're positioned on those vehicles when those opportunities are likely to emerge. So historically, you can predict lanes more cleanly than you can right now. So today we're seeing more requirements move towards GSA, especially Oasis Plus, even when they might have previously landed elsewhere. So our role is to help companies understand where agencies are shifting those work. That's why we're making this video, right? Or why we're answering this question on this video. And making sure that you are eligible and competitive on those vehicles that align with your capabilities and that you know the landscape as it continues to evolve. Because it's going to continue
100%.
to evolve.
All right. So another question that we commonly get, right, from people that are, interested in working with us is, can you help us before an RFP is released?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of real advantage there. So pre-RFP support can include vehicle strategy, competitive analysis, teaming strategies, understanding how an agency is likely to score your work, right? So you have a lot of the base work there done. We can even start thinking about plans of different things well in advance so that by the time the RFP drops, you're not just reacting, right? But you're just sort of wrapping up the plan that you've already been working on.
Yeah, no, 100%. Very nicely put. All right, another question we get commonly is, how does price pressure really work in 2026?
Yeah, so it entirely depends on the acquisition type. Price does. If your acquisition is an LPTA, which means lowest price technically acceptable, right? Price is going to be your gatekeeper. Technical compliance obviously has to be airtight, so you stay in the game, and then you better have the lowest price. Now, if it's best value, which is increasingly common on vehicles like Oasis Plus, right? Agencies are weighing price against risk and past performance and execution credibility. And in those cases, maybe it's not just the lowest price offer, but the one that clearest reduces risk, gives the best plan, right? And it still comes in at a really reasonable price, right? Like, so kind of understanding what type of acquisition that you're looking at is really critical. And then treating every opportunity exactly the same as a mistake, right? Like you should be looking at each opportunity. And when you're thinking about price pressures, you should be pulling those from the solicitation and from your market research around it.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of mistakes, what mistakes get company? Let me try that again. Sorry, got distracted by the phone. All right. So speaking of mistakes, what mistakes? All right. What mistakes? Mistakes. MIS. God damn it. All right. All right, Sarah. So moving on. What mistakes get companies eliminated early?
Ooh, administrative mistakes. So maybe you use the wrong legal entity, or you have inconsistent data across the systems. Your certifications are expired. You're missing signatures. You mismatched uploads, right? You missed a part of the performance work statement you were supposed to respond to. I don't know. Like there's a lot of things, but they're always kind of administrative. On vehicles like Oasis Plus or Seaport, there's very little forgiveness. So most companies, they don't lose necessarily on capability. You're already on the vehicle, so you probably have the capability, but they lose on execution, discipline, or plans. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we'll put a link to a video. We have a video that we did last year in 2025 that talks about all the mistakes that very little has changed to this year in that end.
Proposals
right? We'll link it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, proposals are still proposed. So we'll link it here to the top. You guys can go ahead and check that out. All right, so let's move to talk about proposals and scoring, right? Because that's also a big part of what we do. How do you handle platforms like Symphony, OSP, and eBuy?
Okay, yeah. Well, we treat every proposal sort of as a structured data system, not like a document. Now, the data system might be, give us a document, right? Okay, then we're going to treat it like a document. But if they're like, hey, you need to submit this on Symphony, right? Or you need to submit this on eBuy, then we're actually looking at Symphony and eBuy and how they're wanting it submitted. You know, is it broken into parts, those kind of things. And then making sure that everything aligns. Numbers, representations, attachments, narratives. No inconsistencies, because a single inconsistency can cost you points. It can trigger rejection, especially on scorecard-driven vehicles like Oasis Plus. You want that score to be easy for them to do.
Yeah, 100%. All right. So what makes a compelling proposal for contracts that are worth over $1 million work?
Okay. Yeah. Well, proof always beats pros. You can say that you have done similar work and that you're amazing, but they need you to prove that you've done similar work and that you're amazing. And you might say, you have an amazing plan. I have this great, amazing plan, but you don't show the amazing plan. You don't show the feasibility and risk management of the amazing plan. Then come on. Evaluators want evidence that you've done similar work at a similar scale with clear outcomes and low risk, right? So strong proposals demonstrate credibility and they put details in, right? And they put plans in. They don't just promise performance.
Gotcha.
Biggest thing.
100%.
I see a lot of that. A lot of we will do this, yes. And not how.
Yeah, no promising performance. That's just wasting your money on creating proposals for that. All right. Do you tailor proposals by industry and agency?
The answer to that one is yes, always. Every proposal that you ever put in should be tailored, not just to industry and agency, but to solicitation. But especially if you're IT, cyber, logistics, facilities, engineering, right? All of those evaluate risk differently. So a proposal that works with GSA IT won't necessarily score well on like Seaport or Oasis Plus unless you adjust it.
Gotcha. Okay. Perfect. And then, following up on that, how do you maximize past performance? We talked about not promising performance, right? But then how do you maximize your past performance scoring?
Yeah. So the word annualized value is just going to kill me today. All right. So we analyze annualized value, relevance, scope, overlap, and complexity, right? And how those factors map directly to the eval criteria. right? So you might have a really impressive project. Oh my gosh, we did this like crazy complicated, wonderful project and we scored amazing on it. We did great, right? But if it's misaligned with the proposal, so you're choosing the wrong past performance, that can actually hurt your score instead of like help your score. So, maximizing past performance is like it's strategy and then mapping.
Yep. No, 100%. All right. And again, the other common question we get is, right, do we manage proposal logistics and submission?
Yes. We pretty much all we do is manage proposal logistics. No, we put together compliance matrices, reviews, formatting, final uploads, as well as writing and everything. At this level, a clean execution is really part of your technical evaluation. We don't actually submit it for you for most of the time, right? I mean, there have been some cases where we actually get your access into the software, something can help, right? But most of the time you're in charge of submission. What we will do a lot of times is like screen share. We're all in the same meeting, right? And then we're helping you submit. But it's you and the contracting officer or the government ultimately. So we can't really like do it for you. You have to do it so that you are their point of contact.
Gotcha. That makes sense. All right, let's move on to pricing and financials. Right, everyone's favorite topic.
Everyone's favorite topic.
How do you approach price to win?
Oh, okay. So when we're looking at calculating PWIN, we look at agency budgets, historical pricing, a lot, competitive behavior, and then risk tolerance. So it's analysis and it's not guessing. And we have a specialist who does just that sort of analysis. And a lot of companies have their own sort of formulas and things that they use, but we can help do like historical research and things like that so that we can help with price to win. Yeah.
100%. All right. How do companies protect margins? Good question.
Ooh, yeah. So, you still want to make money. You want to be a government contractor. It is not a get rich quick ticket. And some people were seeing win with as little as like 6% margins, right? So you want to price risk accurately. Don't chase work that doesn't fit in your delivery model. Because like if you can't do the work at the price that you've said that you will do it at, right, then winning that contract could probably be more damaging than losing, right? So just be careful.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence about your pricing before you turn it in and win.
Yeah. No, 100%. Alrighty. I guess the follow-up question to that, because we get a lot of FAR compliance questions too. Can we support FAR compliance pricing and cost realism?
Absolutely. Yeah. So cost realism issues sort of quietly eliminate otherwise strong proposals, especially on best value procurements. And FAR, just the moment we say FAR, it's always confusing for people. So we're 100% like we support that. We have experts at those things exactly. So.
Yeah. Amazing. All right. Let's chat about teaming and experience. So how do we help companies with teaming?
Yeah, so we can help you design your team on paper. So we can identify gaps, advise on partner roles, write strong teaming and teaming build-up narratives. Ultimately, you're going to have to broker the deal, but we make sure that the proposed team makes sense to evaluators and it supports your scoring, and can sometimes help you find the right teaming partners as well.
Yep, 100%. What if we lack federal past performance? How do we help with that?
And a lot of companies wanting to do government contracting do lack federal past performance. Everybody, when they start out, lacks federal past performance, right? It's the famous catch-22 of getting federal contracts, right? But there are paths to getting what you need so that eventually you are priming all your own contracts. Those include strategic teaming, getting mentor-protege structures in place, making joint ventures, or even properly leveraging your subcontracting experience, right? But you need to be intentional and you need to be compliant. So there's no real shortcut. Yeah. You're going to have to do some work with someone else, probably, that also does federal work, in some way, either as a subcontractor, as a teammate, right? And that's kind of the strategy. It's where you got to start. It's not there are proposals that come out that occasionally where they're past performance lenient and they'll use your commercial past performance or your state local past performance. But those are fewer than the other, where they're really going to expect 3 to 5 projects in the last 3 to 5 years that have similar size and scope of what they're asking you to do.
All right. So talking about subcontractors, right? How do you use subcontractors' past performance correctly?
Yeah. So first, read the solicitation and confirm that you are allowed to use your subcontracting past performance, right? Or your subcontractor's past performance if you're putting a subcontractor on with you. Just read the solicitation, understand what you're allowed to do, and then demonstrate real, meaningful relationships with clear roles and accountability. Because renting resumes and just like sort of loosely connected partners aren't going to survive the evaluation process anymore.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then, kind of moving into the more mentor-protege side of things, right? How do mentor-protege JVs help?
So they can unlock scale and small business advantages. So if they're structured correctly and built with reputable partners, right, you can access things you wouldn't be able to access otherwise. And you can use, like in a mentor protege, you can use your mentor's past performance as long as you're in that strict, very strict relationship that all your paperwork's done properly and it's done through the government. For a joint venture, right, you get to do sort of on your own, and just be careful. A bad JV could be a problem. So partner selection and deal terms with that partner matter, as much as eligibility in the end. Check eligibility first. Is it helping you get where you want to go? And then is the deal that you're being offered to do with this people, is it a good deal?
Yeah. No, 100%. All right. Awesome. All right. So let's talk about the last part, which is our favorite part, compliance and risk.
I actually do like compliance.
All right. So how do you help with compliance readiness? As we know, it's like literally the top thing that gets people disqualified, right? So how do we help with that?
Yeah. So if we're doing the entire proposal, right, end to end, we start with compliance. Like we're breaking everything down into a compliance matrix. We're making sure that the moment that we're structuring your documents that we've captured all of the things that you need to have, right? If we're just doing like a compliance check on your work, we're going to be really direct about it, right? If something is not ready, we'd rather let you know and we'd rather address it rather than let the government discover it during the evaluation, right? So we just give you our opinion. Hey, you're missing these things, or these things are not strong. And what can we do to make it strong?
Yep, 100%. No, I think that's the best way forward, right? Just honesty up front. All right. How should companies think about CMMC in 2026?
Oh, CMMC. It's just a gatekeeper now without the required level. Like if you're looking at DoD work, entire segments of your DoD work will not be available to you, including work that flows through vehicles like Seaport. That can be inaccessible to you. So make sure that you've just checked off that CMMC box. And if you haven't checked it off, just do it.
Yep. And for those who are unaware of what that means, it's cybersecurity maturity model certification, right?
Right.
Okay. Awesome. Alrighty.
Cybersecurity.
We'll put that on this. Yes,
something every company needs to have at least some minor awareness of.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're working with the government. Definitely something to look into. All right, great. How do you prevent administrative rejection?
So what we do is we do like kind of Shipley-based, like at least Shipley labeled reviews. So red team reviews, gold team reviews, and then zero tolerance compliance checks. Relying firms, they went on systems, not hope. Not, I feel like I did it right, but like check again. And if you're not sure, check again. Have somebody else check. Right? Like just check a lot.
Yep. 100%. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Sarah. I mean, that's pretty much kind of like the general questions. If anybody has any extra questions that they want to ask Sarah, please do them in the comments or message us through our website at SAS-GPS.com. Winning $1 million plus contracts in federal work in 2026 isn't about chasing everything. It's about being positioned on the right vehicles, especially GSA and Oasis Plus, executing cleanly and staying compliant. That's exactly what we help companies do. If you want help positioning for Oasis Plus, navigating Seaport, NXG, or GSA task orders, or strengthening proposal execution, please reach out. If this has helped you, please subscribe, and Sarah would be more than happy to help you guys out. As we said before, she's helped the company win over $45 billion for contractors in our clientele. So yeah, we know what we're doing. So we'll be happy to help you out.
Yeah. Fill out our online form and I'll call you.
Yeah. All right, Sarah. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll see you in the next video.